Bismillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulina Muhammadin wa ala ali wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Amongst all the acts of worship and ibadah in Islam and what it means to be an obedient and submissive Muslim to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fasting is the most powerful and acute way in sharpening the soul's awareness and consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu narrated that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Indeed your Lord said, every good deed or act is rewarded with 10 of the same up to 700 times over, except for fasting. Fasting is for me, and I alone shall reward for it." The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is highlighting here that with pure intention and sincerity, any good deed or action that is done for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will carry weight in the hereafter, rewards for which will be multiplied at least 10 and up to 700 times. If that's not enough, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His infinite mercy makes an exception. But when someone makes an exception, we automatically think that the exception will be less generous. However, the exception for fasting is a reward that is immeasurable from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Himself, the Al-Kareem. This is what makes fasting so incredibly beneficial and virtuous. This reward cannot be measured with numbers. Even the angels do not know the true value of fasting except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But why is the reward for fasting so exceedingly generous? Fasting is an act of worship that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala truly knows of. It is a secret between you and Him. Fasting is a personalized endeavor from the point of the servant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the fact that it is generally concealed. It is not publicly expressed like salah or zakat, where there is plenty of room for riyah or showing off. Ibn al-Jawzi said, "All acts of worship can be seen when done, and they may be contaminated with some element of showing off, unlike fasting. Hence why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, 'My servant gives up his food, drink and desire for my sake.' The words 'fasting is for me' are sufficient to indicate the superiority of fasting over all other acts of worship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared and promised a beautiful and special reward for anyone who fasts in a way that we are not rewarded for any other good deed. The benefit of this singling out will also be seen on the day of resurrection, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring His slave to account and will settle any scores outstanding from the rest of his deeds, and when there is nothing left, fasting will say, 'O Lord, I prevented him from his food, drink and physical desires during the day, so let me intercede for him. In other words, let me be the reason he or she enters paradise.'" I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to purify our intention and increase our sincerity while fasting this Ramadan. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless and reward all of our good deeds and acts that we perform manyfold. Allahumma ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.